the basic rules of health. Your health is a direct reflection of your participation in life. So if you want to participate actively, please come and occupy the front seat. If you have been forced by Professor Rajesh or somebody and you are not really interested, you are welcome to leave. I won't have any issues, and I know some of you are in some course, and I will make sure that you will not lose your attendance. So I don't want to force anybody to, sit here without your own interest and look at your mobile. So if you want to look at your mobile, please go back to your room or sit under a nice tree and do it. Okay. So, but if you are really interested to participate and learn, please occupy the front seats. Both are perfectly fine. You have 100% freedom to do and be what you want to be, what you like to do. Thank you. So please come to the front seats. Okay, people have occupied already. Now whatever is the last row, please come to the front seats. Fortunately, these things should have been told to us at school because these are basic things for our health. We learn so many things. Today many students they know, if you are interested in going abroad, you know what research is going on, which university, which professor has projects and they can give you aid, everything you know. But you don't know much about your own health. You don't know what goes on in your kitchen where your mother is actively working for your health. So I want to get you present to what you know and what you don't know about your breathing. So now someone tell me, what is the average number of breaths an adult breathes per minute? 1 minute, 60 seconds, how many times we breathe? Quickly shout out.
120.
20. Shout out so that I can get it clear. 30 somebody says. 32 somebody says. 69 somebody says. Okay. I hope it's not a joke. Anyway. Anybody higher than 69? Okay, so roughly, depends on the thing. It may vary from 15 to 30, but I have definitely seen much higher than that, and I have also seen lower than that. But why is this important? So, in our ancient books, it is mentioned that when human being is created by nature, your lifetime is not decided in terms of number of years. It says that your lifetime is given in terms of the number of breaths. Of course, you ask me how to prove, I don't know. Okay. So, but there are some indirect evidence, like, if you do you know which animal has the lowest breath rate? Anybody? Hello? Shout out, or you raise your hand if you have some answer. But even if you want to just attempt, you can attempt. There is no risk in that. Yeah. Turtle, okay. How many breaths per minute? Huh? Less than 10. This is what Dr. Rajesh says. Dr. Girish, which is perfectly fine. Any other animal? Or any other number for turtle? Okay, turtle, the literature says that it breathes 3 times per minute. Okay? And turtle lives normally around 180 years, average. But people have observed certain turtles living in the sea, they live up to 300. Okay? So, when you breathe less number of times per minute, and suppose you are assuming and that our lifetime is divided by the total number of breaths. If you reduce your breath rate, then you can live longer, right? That's the logic. So, looking at that, an animal so small as a turtle, it breathes 3 times per minute and it lives 180 years. On the other side of it, there are elephants. Elephants also breathe 3 to 4 times a minute with such a big body. Okay? And we are talking about what is called a resting breathing rate. See, you yourself know, some of you who do running, or you participate in marathon or something, you know that when you run, your heart rate increases. Or when you quickly go up the stairs, your heart rate will increase. So heart rate varies depending upon the amount of workload we have. Or you are just lying down, going to sleep, your heart rate will come down, your breathing rate will also come down, right? So this resting rate of the elephant is also 3 to 4, and it lives up to 75, 80 years. And some elephants again live beyond 100 years. Do you know the animal which has the shortest lifespan? One of the animals which all of us see every day.
Dog.
Yeah? Dog. Somebody else said something else.
Dog.
Fly. Okay. Mosquitoes and all. Okay. So I don't know much about mosquitoes. How much time it takes also. So, but this is known. I know only what is reported. A dog lives for 10 to 15 years at least. Okay. And you know how many times it breathes per minute? I'm talking about the resting heart rate. 150. Okay. Any other attempts? Thanks for attempting this, because it's very important. The first person gives some numbers so that somebody else is also interested to answer. You should always appreciate the courage of the first person who gives the answer. Okay? 110. Okay. So this is like this thing. Okay. 110 one time, second time, third time, any other kind. Keeps on increasing. Anybody else above 110? So it actually breathes roughly. Of course, see, individually each dog will be different. Each turtle or so what we are saying is a kind of average. You know that, no? So the average breathing rate for a resting dog, just lying down, is 30 per minute. So it is 10 times the elephant or the turtle, and it lives for only 15 years. So of course this doesn't automatically prove that if you reduce your breathing rate, your life will increase, but it's an indirect indication. Okay. So now, how many of you have observed your own breathing rate any time? Have you ever checked what is your actual breathing rate? So there are few people. Okay. There are very few, so we want to do that. So our main topic is about breathing. We are going to look, and CMDR has given me generous 3.5 hours. So maybe with some break in between. So we can look at many things, and we are also going to do some simple things to learn. Because knowledge does not produce any results for yourself or in the world. If that happens, all doctors will be very healthy. Many doctors are not healthy because they don't apply their knowledge to their own life and body. There are 50,000 health workers who died during COVID, right? So if only they knew better, at least what I know, many of them would have survived. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to have a timer. So I'll give you start 3, 2, 1, and then you start. Just close your eyes and count your number of breaths. So how you count your number of breaths is one inhale and one exhale is one round. So inhale and then exhale, one is over. Again you start inhale, second round starts like that. And I will tell you to stop. Don't stop breathing, stop counting. So the closing the eyes is nothing, it's not meditation or some religious practice. It is just your attention will be better to count. Otherwise, you'll be looking at somebody else or something else, right? So it is just to reduce the distractions. So I will tell you. So everybody is ready. Anybody has a question? What you are supposed to do? You have to just count the number of breaths you are doing and don't control the breath, because breathing is something that happens by itself. But that is also an autonomic activity which can 100% control us. This is the only thing inside the body which happens by itself and you can also control. There are other things like heart and other things, they work by themselves, but you don't have as much control. There is some minor control that It's not right now. Okay, let's get started. 3, 2, 1, start. Stop. So I want few people to share what is the number, just the number. Raise your hand. Yeah. 12. Okay. 13. 11. 14. 10. 16. 17. 10. Okay. So we don't have time to ask all of you. It's just to have an idea so that you hear other people. So just remember that number. Okay. This is your own number, and most of you are below 15. It means you are breathing it is really good. Anybody above 30? Here? Nobody. Very good. Okay. So now what we are going to do is you are going to slow down your breath. Okay. But not like, there will be some apps, you hold your breath and see how much you can go on. Not like that. We are not straining yourself. Without much strain, relaxly, do a very slow, deep inhalation and a slow, deep exhalation without too much strain. You shouldn't have any pain or discomfort. Whatever is most comfortable, just slow down to the extent possible. And again, the same thing. I am going to give you 1 minute time. So you just count. So slow it down as much as possible and count the number of breaths. That clear? Any questions on this? Again, close your eyes so that you can attend to your breath and slow it down as well as count better. So let us start. 3, 2, 1. Stop. Tell me. Missed it. 5 seconds more. 4, 5. What are the numbers? 10 and 5. So, many of them are in the range of 4, 5, 6 like that. So, roughly you can see that most of them have been able to halve that rate. If they are at 15, they could have easily reduced to half of it. So this is without any practice or great effort. But if you practice, you can still live. Right? So that is one thing that you know, that without much difficulty at all, you can reduce it by half. And you can also hold your breath. If you hold your breath, still you can reduce it. Especially after inhalation, since there is enough air inside, it will be much easier to hold. You can also hold after you exhale, but that will be a little more difficult. You can't hold as much time. So I recorded, one of this guru of my breath work, which I use to treat psychiatric patients. He can hold his breath for 3 minutes after exhalation, and he can hold his breath 1.75 minutes after exhalation. But that is not the highest. You can Google and check. The highest record is 22 minutes. The people who do deep dives, people who take the pearls and all that from the depths of sea, they have to keep practicing better than this thing. These days, I don't know if somebody may have oxygen cylinder and all, but that adds to the cost of collecting this thing, So the traditional people will not have anything. They'll just dive and pick it up and come. So the more they can hold, more pearls they can get. And there are other reasons for diving. So one person has dropped 22 minutes without the next breath. But we are not interested in records, okay? But what I am saying is, that is a range. Okay, so you can easily, go up to 1 minute. I can hold up to 1 minute. Okay, at my age. So most of you have less breathing rate already. So I am sure with some practice you can do it better. So now we are going to do one more this thing. See, in the yoga literature says there are 3 types of breathing. Okay, one is the stomach or the belly breathing, which basically involves your diaphragm going up and down. Second is your chest breathing, which is your lung and the chest cavity or the rib cage moving up and down. And third is the shoulder breathing. So I will show you all 3. I hope you can see from wherever you are. So first I will show you this. If you can't see it, you can stand up. See, this is stomach breathing. Of course, doesn't mean that other thing will not move, but predominantly you will see that belly is moving. And when you see a child which is few months old, when it is lying down, you can clearly see the stomach moving up and down. That's the best example of where you can see the stomach breathing. You can see this one keep moving up and down. The diaphragm is basically involved in expanding, but contracting there are 6 other muscles which you are normally not using at all. Okay. Then there is chest breathing. Now again this may move a little, but you will see this moving more. So third one is, so there are different, there are actually 3 pairs of 11 muscles on both sides. So 33 to 66 muscles in between your rib, which are used in this, chest breathing. And third, there are some more muscles, and which are used only in shoulder breathing. Here, I don't need to move this or that, but I can do breathing just by using my shoulders. You can see this. In a way, you are pulling up your chest cavity, because whatever the type of breathing that you do, you are basically expanding your lungs and creating a relative vacuum and then pulling in the air. So a good breathing can involve all 3 of it, and there are some breathing exercises we'll do a little later, which involves all of this. So the normal breathing that you do, which you are not even aware, I call it unconscious breathing. Not that you are unconscious, but you are unconscious of your breathing. Like when you are sleeping also, breathing happens. So you are not conscious of it. Somebody is in coma, they are still breathing. So in that breathing, there are 23 muscles used in inhalation. There is only one pair of muscles between your ribs, they are working, and the diaphragm. That is during inhalation. During exhalation, there is no muscle involved. See, when you blow a balloon, You put a lot of effort in growing it and it takes time and effort. But if you want to release, do you have to put any effort? Just release, right? So that our exhalation also happens like it's a recall. There is no active muscle in it. But when you do very active inhalation and exhalation, you can go from these 23 muscles to 89 muscles. And there are 17 spinal nerves involved in controlling all of this. So you can see how much nature or God, whatever you believe in, has given importance to breathing. I'll show you later. So in your spinal cord, almost except few, all junctions have nerves which control some muscle involved in it. Okay. So now you know that stomach breathing and chest breathing. We will not deal with shoulder breathing today. So I want you to observe something. So you should sit erect in your chair, not sit like that. Okay. So when you sit erect, the better blood flow is there to your brain. See, all of us today exist by brain, right? So if you are somebody who is, lifting weights in the, where the rice is sold or in the railway station, porters or something, then you are using your body for survival. But most of us, engineers today, if you are especially working with computers, you are mainly using your brain and of course, right? So brain is very important. And when you sit erect, better blood flow to the brain, better blood flow means better oxygen to the brain. Oxygen is one of the most important input to the brain. Anybody has any idea out of the oxygen that we inhale or the air that we inhale, how much percentage goes to the brain? Anybody? Yeah? 60? Okay. He always gives very high numbers, very good. Yeah? 30. 30, okay.
25.
25. So now it's under decreasing order. Okay. 5%. Okay. One more answer. You have come from 60 to 5 now. Any other number? 20%. What's your name? Anuswami. Krishanu. Krishanu is the correct. Let us acknowledge it. So 20% is the correct answer. And what is the weight of the brain? Come back to the weight of the body. Rough number.
600.
Yeah?
600 grams.
No, I don't want grams. See, if I am 7 feet high and I'm a basketball player in US, my height will be different from somebody who is 4.5 feet, right? So grams is not, so everything in our body will be proportional. So what I am asking is the proportion or the ratio of the weight of the brain to the weight of the body. So you have to give in terms of fraction or percentage. 5 to 10%, 15. Hello, participate. You won't die if you give a wrong answer. 3%, okay. Huh? Raise your hand and say so that I know who is talking. Yeah? 2%. 2% is correct. Okay. Let's acknowledge. What's your name? Shout out. Deepak. Let's acknowledge Deepak. So, an organ which is just 2% by weight takes 20% of your oxygen. Not only oxygen, even the nutrition that you take, the glucose, it requires 20% of what you consume. So that important is it's a highly energy taking organ of your body and it's a highly learning. You see, even at my age, or I told you a lady who was 90 years who became better with this thing, the brain is still learning. Till you die, it will learn. So don't believe anybody else who say you have become old, so that's not a fact. The most easily learning organ in the body is the brain at any age of life. You have to be, it's always free. If you say, oh, I become old, it will also relax. Right? But if you think you can learn, you can learn. Okay, so now what we are going to do is, so you keep your, first sit erect and keep your palm on your thighs and the palm looking upward towards the roof. Okay? And then close your eyes and breathe for some rounds, let's say 5-10 rounds, and observe clearly how much of your chest breathing is involved and how much of stomach breathing is involved. Okay? That once you are clear, you have observed somewhat. Many of us have never noticed it, so it may be a little difficult. But whatever you can observe, you observe. After you are clear, then you change the direction of your, don't open your eyes. Instead of keeping your palm towards the sky or the roof, you put it, the palm is now towards your thigh. Okay? Just turn it 180 degrees and again continue for a few more rounds and see whether there is any change. For most people, when your palm is up, it will be better chest breathing. When the palm is down, there will be better belly breathing. Like I said, it may be a combination of both, but predominantly one of them will be there. Please go ahead and let us start. 3, 2, 1. Once you have seen both sides, you can open your eyes. There won't be any time given. So how many of you can observe a shift from one predominance to the other predominance? You can look around. Some of you may not have seen it. You know, if your belt is very tight, you can't see it. Or if you have never observed your body, you know, you may not have seen it, but you can see that majority can see it. So there is what is the connection between hand position and our breathing? I don't know. But somebody told me, and I observed it, and there is a change, very clear change. Okay. So there are many things in our body which we don't. And one of my friends, he retired as the director of Finance, Bangalore, and he says still many things in the brain are not known. Okay. So we have gone to the moon and we are trying to go even beyond, but we have not understood what is closest to us and the most useful to us in our life. So anyway, so you learn something about your own breathing now. So now the next thing we are going to try is, this is called conscious connected breathing. Okay. So I told you that normally you are not conscious of the breathing. Now, so when you are doing it, you are going to be completely alert about your breathing. You have no other job except to observe your breathing. Okay. So you are completely conscious of whether you are inhaling, whether you are exhaling, what is happening there. And the second part is conscious connected. What is being connected? The inhalation is connected to the exhalation, and exhalation is connected to the inhalation. And there is you can also say it's continuous. That means there is no stop, there is no hold. Of course, there are pranayama where holding is involved, but this is a very particular type of breathing. It's called conscious connected breathing, which I use it for, treating psychiatric patients. It's a very powerful type of breathing. So, when you say, it's like this, the two ways I will explain. One is, at some point, you don't have to try to fill your lung with all your effort, then this will not work. When it is, let's say, 80-90% full, you start exhaling. So it's like this. So it's not like there is a definite end to the inhalation and there is a definite end to the exhalation. For some of you will observe, I just want you to observe, when you breathe now, again don't control, just close your eyes. Right now we are not counting or doing anything. We are just seeing how is our breath. Is there a small pause? There is a small gap, even a millisecond gap between inhalation and exhalation For me, even though in spite of all the practice, I still have, after I exhale, it doesn't start inhalation immediately. The normal breath. This is not, I am not asking you to control it. We will do that next. First thing, you just observe your normal breathing. Find out if there is a break, small pause after inhalation before you start exhaling, or if there is a pause after exhalation before inhalation. Some people, I have found it for many, I talked about it in many groups, some people have pause on both sides. Okay? And my breathwork guru says, just by seeing how people breathe, he can find out about their psychology, about their health condition and anything. So it's very closely related upon each other. Anyway, that I am not an expert, so we will not talk about it. So just observe. Okay, so now when I say 3, 2, 1, close your eyes and observe whether there is a pause after inhalation or a pause after exhalation. So I will time it maybe 30 seconds. After that, we will start again. Start 1, 2, 3. Stop. So how many have you observed pause after inhalation? Few people. How many have you observed pause after exhalation? The majority. I don't know whether it is a characteristic of engineering students. Even in IISc when I talk to many students, most of them, including me, we have pause after exhalation. So we have to find out what it is. I don't know. How many of you had pause on both sides? Anybody? There are few people here. Okay. So now we are going to consciously observe your breathing and also control your breathing and make sure that there is absolutely no pause. Not even a millisecond, not even a microsecond. Right? Of course. It may be difficult to avoid microsecond. I am just exaggerating so that you try your best. The moment you are almost fully start exhaling. You don't wait for filling up your lungs. Similarly, the moment you are almost finished with the exhalation, don't wait till you take out every air in the lung. You start inhaling. So it's like I told you, this one. Another way is you can call it as a circular breathing. Like so at some point it just switches from inhale to exhale. And at some other point it switches from exhale to inhale without any sudden break for some time. So let's go ahead with that. Try this and you can make it as deep as possible if possible. So 3, 2, 1. Close your eyes. Stop. I purposely gave you 1 minute because I wanted you to practice. This is very important. So what this does, again I can't prove it, but if you experiment, Professor Prasanna was saying that he experienced some breathing and it was extraordinary. This is that breathing which he did, and I made him do it continuously for 1 hour. Okay, the minimum is 1 hour. I can do it continuously for 2 hours. And very deep also, very deep, very long, and without any stop. Not stop between exhaling here, but not stopping the breath also, not slowing down. I can do it for 2 hours because I practiced so much. So what this gives is, it gives some kind of energy which is different from oxygen, and they call it prana. The word pranayama. The pranayama has come from 2 words. Prana is the life energy. Ayama is extension. So you can extend your life or your life energy by doing pranayama. And this is a very particular thing. So how my guru explained that is, see, if you go to high in the mountains, the oxygen pressure comes down. Those of you who have gone trekking in high mountains, or I went to Leh once, and I was advised first day don't walk very fast, don't go visit places, just eat well and relax so that your body gets acclimatized to the low oxygen level. From second day onwards you can visit and all. So, and some people become sick also because the oxygen is low there. Okay? And when you go there, sometimes they give you a oxygen cylinder so you are safe. Okay? But you would have seen some sadhus, you would have seen some photos or YouTube, this thing. There is a lot of ice, and the sadhus are not even having shirt and they are happily going. How are they able to do it? I understand they know this kind of breathing. When you do this breathing, my guru says that this energy is more important than oxygen. And it gives you, it's actually life energy. Okay? And because of that, even though oxygen is less, he says high up in the mountain and near the water bodies, this prana is very high. So when they know how to breathe, they are able to get that energy from that. Even though they get less oxygen, that's not an issue. That energy is better. Other thing he says, children, when they are born, they breathe properly. They do conscious connected breathing. You can observe. And that is why, how many of you have small kids in your family, or you have seen very small kids, below 2 years, 3 years. See, night time, it's close to 10 o'clock, whatever time you want to sleep, and the parents are trying to make the child sleep. They will give stories, they will do something or another. They will get sleep. The child will not get sleep. The child will be active. And if they make a mistake in the story, no, it's not like that, it is this one, continue. Or this story is over, give me one more story. How many of you have faced this problem with the kids? So the kids are more, they have high energy. And in fact, throughout the day, they run and do all kinds of things compared to us. How is it that they have energy even at 10 o'clock at night? Because they breathe correct. That's what, don't ask me proof, it's what my guru says. Looks logical, two extreme examples, both where, very high energy is there. And once I did this, very heavily one day, and the night I couldn't sleep at all. Okay. So I tried many things, and then next day I asked him, Guru, I couldn't sleep at all. He said, you come back today evening and tell me, I'll tell you something. I said, okay, because we are in a 1 week training program. and I was the man who was asked to take all the notes. There were around 30 participants, but I was given the task of taking notes. Right? So I was active taking notes. And at the end of the second day, when I went to him, he said, see, yesterday night you said you didn't sleep. Were you tired? Were you able to observe fully and all? I said, yeah, I was fully alert and I could take down all the notes. I didn't. Now only I am realizing that I was never tired because of not sleeping. He says that is because you were charged with so much of energy that you couldn't sleep. Next time when it comes, don't struggle with your sleep. Do something productive at that time, he said. You don't need as much sleep when you have this positive energy in your life, he said. So after that, 2-3 times it has happened, I just get up and start working, reading something. Okay, at my age. You can imagine at your age what is possible. Okay, so that is why I told you. See, these are some simple practices. I will teach you some more things. You try this. Like I told you, my conviction on this increased so tremendously after my aunt. I told you, the 90 years old lady suddenly started improving her health at the just by doing very simple exercise. I didn't even tell her the conscious scientific breathing because she will get confused. So I asked a very simple thing, inhale, exhale, this one, and then inhale, exhale, that kind of, and she is doing it just sitting in her chair because she doesn't move much at that age. With that she is able to get so much benefit. So, one of the directors said that you can take 5-10 minutes and do it. If you can do it, that is very good. But I am not a traditional yoga Pranayama instructor who says, morning you get up and then sit erect in Padmasana and do this and all that. If you can do it, great. Some of you are doing, well and good. But you can do it anytime. See, yesterday when I came by flight, I sat in the flight and did it. Because there is nothing much to do in the flight. Okay. Even the mobile is off. Right? So you can't do this also. So I always do that in this thing, or when you are traveling in a flight, or you are coming and sitting in a class and you are waiting for you came 5 minutes before, so you are waiting for the teacher. You just do any one of these simple breathing practices, it will help you enormously. And sometimes, how many of you, get up late and very quickly have a breakfast, or you don't have time for breakfast also and rush to the class? Yes, you are my friends. Okay. So when you come rushing and sit there, for a few minutes you will be in that guilt mode, or because you didn't eat, something will be going on and you will not be able to fully attend to the class. Okay? And it's very important that you are calm and collected and attend to the class. So that time, as soon as you land here, I don't want you to come late, but if it happens, you just close your eyes and do, or you think you are afraid of the teacher, don't close your eyes. So do some very relaxed deep breathing. You will immediately relax and you will get collected and you can observe the class and absorb much more. Anytime you do that, you will always be much better in terms of observation and collecting what is going on in the class. To make best use of a good teacher is to attend as closely, as observantly as possible, right? So that is the possible thing. So now I want you to stand and do few things. I will explain why. Because anyway they have removed all my laptop, so I will put my laptop after the break. Now around 11:30 they said not running. So another 8 minutes. Before that, we will do some simple things. All of you stand in wherever you are. So I will explain why this is and the background, everything after the break. Okay, right now you have to trust me and only do whatever I say. Okay? Even if you don't believe, it's okay. I will explain later. Right now we simply do it. Okay? Anyway, you are here and I am here. There is no escape, right? So please do it. So what you do is you take your hands away like that, and you need to do two type of extensions. One extension is as if somebody is pulling my hand from that side. So I am trying to. My hand is stretched. You understand? This is stretch. Stretch in one direction and move the hand. Somebody is pulling from this side. Somebody is pulling from this side. Okay. Then there is also, that person is not only pulling from this side, he is actually standing at the back. The person is not standing here, he is standing here. So he is pulling the hand and also pulling it at the back. So that means not straight like this, and I am taking it as much back as possible. Right? Both the hands. So there are two stretch. One is straight, one is bending to the back. And go there as much as possible. Don't come back and tell me my back is paining. Don't go to that extent. Whatever is most comfortable, with some effort you go there and stay there and continue breathing. Sometimes when you focus too much on something, your breathing will stop or become shallow. It has been observed. So focus on your breathing and continue to breathe properly. Okay? Maybe your breathing will not be as perfect as otherwise. Whatever breathing is there, but make sure that you continue to breathe. And when you become too tired, you wait till you feel a little pain. It's good, and then you come back. Okay? Yeah, go ahead. Extend. Stretch. Continue to breathe. Stop laughing, looking at others. Thank you. Keep standing. We are going to do something more. Okay, till the break. 11:30 is Professor Rajesh here. Okay, till 11:30. One of you can tell me when 11:30 reaches. I sometimes overrun. If you overrun, you are responsible. Hold me account and stop. Okay. So how many of you hum songs? You like to hum songs? Very good. It's a great thing. I'll tell you why. More of it after the break. See, many of us like some songs. Okay, it may be whatever songs. Some of you like movie songs. Some of you like classical songs. Whatever song. And if your voice is good, you sing. But if you are not having great putting your own voice, then you only hum, right? So, there is one pulmonologist from Sweden who did a lot of research on humming. He doesn't know anything about yoga or pranayama. He's just a researcher, pulmonologist, and I don't know how he started. His first paper is on 2002. I have 3 or 4 of his papers if you are interested, I can tell you. So what he proved is, you have the sinuses, which are some cavities behind your nose, eyes, and this side. There are some 6 or 7 cavities, and these are called sinuses. Usually they have a bad name. Oh, I have sinus trouble. That is where you normally hear, but they have a lot of good functions. When you are in a desert and it is too hot, your lung will suffer. So when you breathe through the nose, these sinuses add some humidity to that and then send it. They cool it down and send it. Okay, that is one purpose. The other purpose, which is less known, is it releases a gas called nitric oxide. Okay, nitrogen has 3 oxides. For those of you who might have forgotten your chemistry, it is nitrous oxide, which is called a laughing gas. So this is not a laughing gas. There is a nitric oxide, which is NO. Okay, where both have 2 valences, and then there is one nitrogen peroxide, that is NO2. So this is neither nitrogen peroxide nor nitrous oxide, it is nitric oxide. And this nitric oxide, to one scientist was given a Nobel Prize in medicine for finding out all the beautiful functions of nitric oxide in our body. Okay, Louis something, I'll show his name and all that. It's all there in his slides. I can share the slides with Professor Rajesh, you can look at it later. So, this nitric oxide, what does it do? When it goes through your breathing, every time you inhale through the nose, when you inhale through the mouth, it doesn't happen. Because the sinuses cannot add anything to the air that is directly taken from the mouth. Mouth breathing is only given by God as a backup. If something happens to your nose, it's a backup, but not to be used regularly. Okay? So when you breathe through the nose, it adds a small amount of nitric oxide every time. And when it goes to the lungs, it expands the alveoli, which means the end points of the thing, and it increases the surface area, and it is the surface area of the alveoli which decides how much of oxygen, carbon dioxide exchange is taking place in your lung. So the moment it expands, you are able to absorb more carbon dioxide, more oxygen from the same air. Even when you are not deep breathing, just if you are breathing through the nose, if there is nitric oxide, you are able to absorb more oxygen. But now if you are doing humming, he found that the amount of nitric oxide release increases 15 times. It's not 15%. It is 15 times, which means 1,400 percentage increase in the nitric oxide that is released. So you can imagine how much of more oxygen you will release. And when it goes to the other blood vessels in the body, the blood vessels, when they expand due to nitric oxide, it also reduces your blood pressure. So it can reduce your blood pressure. It can increase your amount of oxygen absorbed. It can also kill all the viruses and the bacteria that go through the nose. And it also gives rise to new neurons in your hippocampus. Hippocampus is the area of the brain which helps you to learn new things. For people, Alzheimer's and people who have that memory issues, dementia and all that, it is that part of the brain which gets damaged. That's why they won't have new memory is difficult for them. They will remember some old things. At the beginning of their disease, people who just got Alzheimer's, they will remember their parents and children and other people for a few years. And deep into the disease, they will forget that also. But initially, they won't remember what you told them for the last 5 minutes. But they will remember what happened 10 years back. Because whatever they have learned is already stored elsewhere. But what is newly learned is from hippocampus, and this has been proved to give new neurons in hippocampus. So let me just check the time. Yeah, it's already 11:31. Thank you. So let's meet after I stopped abruptly. So please stand again to complete one more thing before we go to my slide. So I was talking about humming and the increase of nitric oxide. Okay. So all you are going to do is, it's called humming breathing, and this is known for thousands of years in India as called Brahmari breathing. So the Brahmari in Sanskrit means the bee. See, when you are in a rural area, some, not a heavily traffic and other things, peaceful area, a lot of trees are there, and nobody is there at the same. And then one bee just comes close to you. You will get the sound out there, right? You will immediately notice. So that is the sound of the humming of the bee. So because of that, it is called, that bee is called Brahmari. So they named this breathing technique Brahmari Pranayama. That's the only connection. Okay. So what we are going to do is inhale deeply, and when you exhale the hum. Okay, it's like this. The way you powerfully hum, you should experience vibration of your head. Okay, don't deceive yourself. Oh, somebody will see. Everybody is doing, so nobody needs to be ashamed of it. Okay, you are doing it for your own health. So don't look at somebody's face, and if you feel ashamed, close your eyes. That's why I say close. If everybody close your eyes, you don't need to bother about anything. Nobody is looking at you, right? So better thing you close your eyes, inhale deeply, and again I'll give just 1 minute. I'll say stop. Then you can stop and sit down, and we'll start other things. We'll come back to this much later. Okay. So any questions on this? Inhale slow and deep. So you have to be again conscious. Okay, preferably combine the conscious connected breathing with humming. That means inhale slowly and at some point start exhaling with humming. And when it ends again inhale slowly. So that without a break. Okay, one of my interests is to combine many things so that you get maximum benefit. So actually later I will tell you should also combine it with the sunlight. I'll tell you what it is, but you cannot do it now. But when we finish 1 o'clock, when you go out, assuming sun is still there, I want you to practice in the sun. So I'll tell you more about it. So multiple things can come together and get you enormous benefit even in 1 minute of breathing. Okay? So let's start. So when I say 3, 2, 1, close your eyes, inhale, and when you exhale with the hum. I should get so much of sound, this room should vibrate. Please do that. Close your eyes. Stop. Please sit up. So we are going to connect breathing of different kinds. Kriya is a specific type of active breathing. Pranayama is relatively more relaxed breathing. So there are active pranayama breathing also. And how it is connected to the health of the brain, they did say already something. We will see more of it about the brain as well as the heart and also to some extent on the psyche. Psyche is based more on my own guess. It's not it. The other two are already proved by sufficient research and I give you papers. But Psyche is based on my own experience with patients. And hopefully, the Center for Brain Research in Bangalore, the director has told me that you give a proposal, we will consider. So if that works, we will actually start doing experiments on people and look at the mitochondria activity after our breath work and all that. More of it later. Okay? So, all of you know our brain is a miraculous system. It controls your entire life from birth until you breathe out at last. It controls everything from walking, talking to eating, sleeping, breathing and interacting with the world around us. When the human brain gets damaged and misbehaves, what happens to all the data, files and folders that are saved inside the context? So one of my close friends is a neurosurgeon. He says your brain is like a hard disk. Okay, it can store many programs, and depending on what program it runs, your special situation. He says, I am a neurosurgeon, I have different programs. You are a professor, you have a different program. Right? So otherwise, it's all a system, right? When you have a computer, when you run, a particular compiler, it does some function. When you run a video game, it runs a different function, right? Both are programs, right, on the same hard disk. So that he says, he compares the brain is like that. And when something is damaged, the programs are lost. Right? When somebody has a stroke, or dementia or any of these things. So then we don't even know which is lost from where according to him. But the brain is still plastic. Even at the age of 50 or 60 or 70, if the person is interested, they can still learn and become better. I remember when I was in college probably, I don't remember, I am from Tamil Nadu. So at that time, one M.G. Ramkrishna was the Chief Minister of Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and he's popularly called MGR. He was like many other Chief Ministers of Tamil Nadu, he was a cinema actor, a very popular politician also he became. And he had a stroke. And then he was admitted and he was in the hospital, and when he was recovering, he lost a little bit of his speech, became very undecodable later, and other issues had there. And doctors advised him you should do physiotherapy, that means exercise at least for half an hour. And at the same time, one of the uncles, my mother's elder sister's husband, he retired from service of CBI. Okay, you know CBI. And he was a very senior officer. He used to travel with the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi wherever she goes. He will be accompanying personally. That kind of a level of officer. But after his retirement, he also got a stroke. At the same time, I could observe. And he was also advised physiotherapy, and his relatives, which is my aunt and their children, they had a very tough time. He used to get angry. Why are you forcing me? I can't do it. It's very difficult, very painful. And he used to be angry with those people, and he refused to even cooperate doing that. Whereas what I read in the newspapers is, when the doctors say you do physiotherapy for half an hour, MGR used to do it for 1 hour. Because he had a vision, he wants to become Chief Minister again. Right? So, if you have a powerful future calling you, then it will call you to action. So this man is retired, and why should I do it, there is nothing powerfully to call for action. So it's a one basic principle, like you need to create a really strong vision that calls you to action, that makes you wake up in the morning. So many of you who say, I can't get up in the morning, that particular day if you are going for a trek with your friends, or you are going for a vacation trip, you will get up at 4 o'clock. Sometimes you get up before the alarm rings. How many of you have experienced this? Yeah. So it depends on what you have created for yourself in the future. If your future is, you create a powerful future, it will call you into action. Otherwise you will keep living with your reasons. It's a very reasonable life, I call it. You can give reasons for everything, but reasons will not give you answers. But being unreasonable, going beyond your reasons and being in action will give you results. Okay? So coming back, we already said brain weight is 2% of body weight but consuming 20% of oxygen and also the nutrition energy. If the brain cells die if deprived of oxygen for greater than 6 minutes. This is very important. So that is why I say breathing is more important. So Prasanna, I think he said, we don't do much, think much about the breathing. If you go to any doctor, unfortunately doctors do nothing about breathing. I can say it with very confident this thing, because I have talked to many doctors. I have two very close friends, like I told you, a neurosurgeon, I have cardiac surgeons who are very close friends. They say they don't study about positive health. The very field of allopathy, if you know how the etymology of the name itself comes, means allo means alleviation, removal. Pati means pathos, disease. So they only studies removal of disease. If you have disease, the doctor has some job. You don't have any disease, doctor, I want to improve my energy level, I want to improve my concentration, I want to become more healthy. I have nothing. During COVID, I asked this neurosurgeon, he said, AGR, please don't ask me anything. Our job is to deal with sick people. So if you are talking about positive health, they have nothing. He told the truth. Many doctors may not tell you the truth unless you are very close, but that is the fact. So actually I was telling you earlier that some of these things should be introduced in school texts. I also actively tell, if you know anybody in the education department, especially medical education, things should be introduced in the medical text. Why they are not in the medical text? Because we are following the important medical text which the American education system is using, and there is proof that the people who originally created the physiology books for the doctors, they were paid very heavily, millions of dollars by pharmaceutical industries to suppress all these important facts. Don't put anything which will reduce our sales of the pharmaceuticals. Because if you can improve your health by good exercise or breathing or anything else for that matter, meditation, anything for that matter, then you will buy less of medicines. So they said remove all that. And this so-called professors of physiology, great people, they were funded in millions of dollars for their research. So they said okay, you remove. So it's high time when we are looking at Atmanirbhar and all that, we don't need to bother about what the idiotic Trump and his group is doing. We should do what is really meaningful. We should introduce some of these things and really improve our health and the knowledge of our doctors. Okay. So that's why when you go to a doctor, they always talk about diet only. Or when you have heart, they don't say do breathing. They say the increase this one, reduce oil, reduce salt. It's all about food. When you are diabetic, they say don't eat too much. You eat every 3 hours small amount. So no doubt, food is also important. I am not saying that, but you can live without food for days. Many people like Gandhi have proved it, and people who are fasting for some festival or something. Islam people, they fast for the entire month. They are all healthy. So you can live without food for some time, but you can't live without breathing for more than 6 minutes. Of course, if you stop breathing for 6 minutes, you won't die, because the body has some storage and it will optimize and it will send maximum to the brain and so on. But what happens is, when an artery inside the brain is blocked, then there is no other thing. In 6 minutes, whatever area of the brain is supplied by that artery, that dies. That's what is called stroke. Or somebody has an accident and some part of the brain is not getting blood, it will die. So it's that crucial. 6 minutes is all it takes for a brain cell to die if it is not supplied with continuous oxygen, continuous blood. So that is so crucial, and we are breathing 24/7. You are eating, even if you think eating is very important and all that, you are eating maybe 3 or 4 times. That's all. Unless you are in US and you get up at midnight and take ice cream. Our people are also following some of those things. I hope you won't do that. So 3 times or 4 times maximum is what we need to eat. But we need to breathe 24/7. So I feel, even if you improve by 10% of the effectiveness of your breathing, getting more oxygen, making more prana, it will do enormous improvement for your health, like I observed about that 90-year-old lady. And I did tell you, my own mother is also 90 plus. She has been doing it for the past 3-4 years. And during COVID, she was affected. And BBM people came, that is the government, and they said she is very old. She was 85 that time. You have to admit her to hospital. I told them point blank, you do what you want. I will not admit to hospital, because she will die in the hospital. If she is at home, I know she will survive. And I convinced her. She listens to me. I said, all you need to do is just do all this breathing. I asked her to do this primary breathing and all that. She was doing it regularly. And they gave so many medicines. I gave only vitamin C. All other medicines I threw away. None of that is useful. None of that is improved. And she survived. Within 1 week she was not. Okay. And all the people, if you see COVID, everybody died in the hospitals. Doctors, actually, because of their own ignorance, they killed them. Because ICU is meant for healthy people, and they close it because people who may have infection of any kind, they don't know, they don't want them to enter into the ICU. Here what they did, idiots, I'm sorry to say that, because they only they did not kill patients, they also killed themselves. 15,000 doctors and nurses died around the world. There is a website which was going on taking that names and hospital names, everything I was tracking at the time. I have written many papers on this at that time. So they put 15 people who are highly infected with COVID into the same ICU. And if you know what it is, ICUs have centralized air conditioning. What is centralized air conditioning? Like this, the room is cooled by air and the air is sucked through these ducts and they are cleaned and then recirculated. No new air comes. Maximum any air conditioning system, centralized air conditioning system can get is only 15% of new air. Because if it is very hot outside, if you allow fresh air, it will never get cold because it's a big room request. So they only allow 15% of fresh air. And one of the biomedical engineers in a hospital in Bangalore, he told me, many doctors say that no, cut down to 5%. I want it to cool earlier. So he told me, it is well known in the medical circles that in all operation theatres, the carbon dioxide level is higher than outside. So there are many issues like that. And when somebody is not even able to breathe properly, they put them in a ICU which is very cold. When you are not breathing, you go to a cold room or a warm room. Very simple logic. Anybody will tell you that warm room is better. Best room, best place is the open field where you have a draft of air. Every time they exhale, I learned, they are releasing millions of germs. So you should have a draft of air which will immediately take it and they should get fresh air. That itself is enough. One Siddha doctor like that, he cured hundreds of people in Chennai. He hired an engineering college, not a single person died. He gave them good food. They have to play in the sun, everyday cricket and all that. And all of them died. But many people died in the area. So, in the brain, I'll talk to you a little bit more about mitochondria later. Mitochondria is an organelle inside every one of your cells. You know, in the cell there is a cell membrane and inside there is a nucleus. The nucleus contains your DNA. DNA is the signature of your particular personality and all that, right? But apart from that, outside the nucleus, this mitochondria is there. They are called the energy sources of the body. And very recently only, I never studied biology unfortunately earlier, but this mitochondria has its own DNA. The speciality of this is, recently, a few months back, maybe a year back, I don't remember exactly, you can Google and find out. In UK, first time they did this, a lady has defective mitochondria, which gives rise to defective children. So what they did, they created a child with 3 parents. Regular this thing, they created a fertilized egg and they removed all the mitochondria because mitochondria is coming from the mother, and they took mitochondria from another lady and they injected into that. And they got 2 or 3 children like that, they are healthy. So what I want to say is this, it's clearly that, so the child's DNA, basic DNA is from the parents. Only the energy source, the mitochondria is from a third parent. So these are distinct things I want you to know. So there is a psychiatrist in Harvard Medical School, I told you. He has a book called Brain Energy, and there are many videos available. I can give you this thing. So he clearly says all the psychiatric problems. He himself is a psychiatrist, and another thing is he himself was a psychiatric patient when he was in school, college. He went through a very tough time. His father sent him out of his house, and mother was also not having enough money. He went through a very tough time in his school times, and he became a psychiatric patient. He said, none of the medicine helped me. But he lost his mother also due to psychiatric. So it drove him to learn more. And now he has become an expert psychiatrist himself. And he says, by controlling the diet, you can change the function of the mitochondria and it can cure your psychiatric disease. It's a totally different theory in psychiatry, very revolutionary theory, but a lot of people who are believing it, and some doctors have already, on YouTube they have said that yes, I'm going to try it and it works. Okay, so that is called metabolic theory of mental illness. So there may be a few things, when you change the slide, the topic will suddenly change. So because it's not such a perfectly organized talk, and I am not neither a medical person nor a biologist, not somebody who's traditionally been there. If I give a talk on my research that I did for 30 years in IIC, I may be much more organized in terms of. I forgot somewhere it is there. I keep forgetting names. So I was telling you about the intermittent fasting. So the scientists got a Nobel Prize in 2016, and one of the things they also say that is when we start fasting, after 12 hours nothing happens. The body is still waiting. Oh, eat. Let's wait. After some time it realizes, oh, nothing is going to come. So then it says, I need to do something. I need to get, without food, there is no source for energy. Then it starts melting the fat stored in your liver, and it starts releasing the glucose from glycogen. There are many processes happening because of which you continue to go. And then see the intelligence of your brain. It knows that there is less food, less sources, supplies. So it starts to optimize, right? So see, suppose at the end of the month you have less money sent by your parents. What you will do? You will spend it only on what is the most important, right? Otherwise you may spend on a movie or something else. Now you will stop because tomorrow I won't have money for the coffee. Whatever you think is important, right? So the brain decides, so let me only feed those cells which are healthy, and it stops all the cells which are unhealthy. It knows which are cancerous cells, so it doesn't give any food for them. So after 16 hours, actually cancer cells start dying. Can you imagine this? Extraordinary intelligence of a body. You don't need to do anything. Just starve, and it can become better. It's not only cancer, there are many things like that. Any cell which is malfunctioning, especially the mitochondria, it starts eliminating them slowly. But in 16 hours it won't happen. But if you do it, there are many theories about it, 2 days, 3 days. The more time you can do it, more effective. And like I told you, this book, Tirumandiram by Tirumular, who was a Siddha, 3000 BC, he has written, about this. That is a YouTube. Now I won't play because it's in Tamil, so don't bother. But some of you know Tamil, I will give you the slides, you can see that. So, our ancestors knew it before, but because they didn't tell us that this is going to do autophagy, you can, everything in this thing they connected to religion. Oh, Ekadasi you do, then Vishnu will bless you or something else. And some people believed it, they are beneficial. Many of us didn't believe and we lost it. So you need to really get to the basics, and that is my interest. I want to convert the educated people by giving the background so that you are convinced that these are meaningful, so that you start practicing and you start learning by yourself also. I am not giving all the information, there is so much information available and things are, more is getting to be. So there is something called, I told you that this autophagy starts activating after around 16 hours of fasting. So that requires a lot of effort, Every day you can't do that. There are some people who are doing it, I know. They eat only 2 times a day. So 16 hours you need not eat. That means 8 hours you can eat in the 24 hours. They eat maybe, afternoon 12 o'clock. And then again eat in the evening 6 o'clock or something, or 10 and 6. And then between 6 and the next day morning 10 they don't eat. So that covers 16 hours. And they benefit quite a bit. Okay, but there is a much simpler thing. See, today's talk is on breathing. So some other day when I talk of autophagy, I'll talk more about it. But today's thing is breathing. So in breathing, the earlier thing I told you, conscious connected breathing, don't hold. That's a particular thing for a particular thing. Effect, okay? For curing different kind of things, you have to hold the breath. What happens to hold the breath? See, it's the same thing. What happens when you stop eating? There is so much of storage, so it starts giving all that. So for 12 to 16 hours, the body doesn't feel the pain. It goes on. Many times, sometimes you go around, you are active and you don't eat also, nothing happens to you, right? After some time you feel tired and then whenever you find you are able to go to eat. But oxygen is not like that, there is no storage. There is a little bit storage in your lungs and after some time it's gone. So then immediately it wakes up. There are sensors, millions of sensors. Those of you who are in IoT, they say put sensors everywhere. So God has put sensors throughout your body, everywhere, near every muscle, blood vessel, everywhere there are these sensors. It keep on sensing how much is the oxygen level, what is the relative carbon dioxide level, what is the pH. You know the pH, acidic, base, minus 70 plus 7. It measures all this and keeps on sending information back to the brain. So normally they don't work because every time you keep on eating and things are okay, not much information flows. The moment you start stopping your breath, after 6 minutes, right? Suppose you want to stop in this case, maybe even half a minute, immediately the carbon dioxide level keeps on increasing. Then these sensors, they immediately send carbon dioxide is decreasing, do something. So when you are not breathing, you are holding your breath. So you cannot do anything. So it will immediately pump more blood. Your heart rate will go. Your pressure will go. So that cannot extend for a long time. So then it again enters autophagy. Amazing. So in 10 minutes you can start autophagy by doing deep breathing with as much cold as you are possible. Initially you can do cold after inhalation. And after some practice you can also try some amount of holding after exhalation. Okay? So like I told you, that is called hypoxia. I call it intermittent hypoxia because when you are inhaling, you are getting oxygen. But when you are holding sufficiently long, slowly the oxygen level reduces, carbon dioxide level increases. That's called hypoxia, means less of oxygen. But when you hold after the exhalation, there is nothing inside and you are still holding, so there is much faster increase in the carbon dioxide level. So it activates much earlier. I told you there are people who can hold on after the sufficient inhalation, but for minutes, because there is something inside. But if there is nothing inside and you don't hold, then there is nothing to back up also. So you can increase the this thing. So I told you all these organs, all these sensors, they send feedback to the brain, and it goes to cardiorespiratory centers. That means there are some centers in the brain which control both heart and the lung. So if oxygen goes low, it does both. See, when you are running, your heart rate will increase, your breath rate also will increase. How? Because there are sensors which tell you that this muscle is working too much and there is no oxygen. There is so much of carbon dioxide. So it does both. It increases your breathing rate so you can get oxygen quickly. And it also increases the blood pressure and heart rate so that you can pump it fast and to the end organ. So they are interconnected. So this intermittent hypoxia, why I call it intermittent hypoxia is, so you are not completely stopping. You are inhaling, but you are stopping for a longer time, so that you starve your body with this thing and activating all the sensor mechanism inside. So it wakes up the whole system of sensors and the feedback loop. A complex internal exercise gets initiated because these are generally relaxed. Because you are not even aware of breathing, so never you have such low oxygen unless you have some breathing trouble. Okay. So, but when you are forcefully doing it, intentionally stopping your breath, then you are activating all these things. And they have found, there are papers to say that when you do this intermittent hypoxia, that means holding your breath, PD enough level goes up. PD enough is brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which actually helps improve the health of your neurons, and it can also give rise to new neurons in the brain. So that level automatically goes up. Autophagy gets initiated. Mitophagy is the equivalent of autophagy for the mitochondria. The mitochondria also, whichever cell the mitochondria is bad, it kills that. So both of them get initiated. So So let's practice it like I told you, knowledge will not modify anything, right? Practice will modify. Suppose you keep on reading, about C++ and whatever languages today you have, right? And you never code. Will you learn? You have to actually sit with the computer, take some IDE and start programming, take a real project, take real data. I've seen many computer science students from local colleges. I asked them, okay, tell me those days, I was not there during this Python area, so C area. So I say, write a small code which will read this file and write it back in a different format. They just don't know. They are only bookish knowledge. They have never done anything. Reading a file also not that. So anyway, coming back here. So unless you practice, it is the action which gives you the result, whether it is breathing or outside in our world. So let's do this now. So this is called Samavritti Pranayama. I don't know whether it is there in the next slide. You just see. Yes. So this is called Samavritti Pranayama. Sama means equal, right? So Vritti means flow or movement. So that means equal time. In this case, not movement. It's actually equal time for inhalation, hold, and exhalation. And there are two types. One is you are holding only after inhalation. So it's called 1:1:1. Some people say, 4:4:4. But I don't know what is 4. At what rate you will count, it's not in my control. Somebody will count very fast, somebody will count very slow. So you count at your same. But 1:1:1 means whatever time you are taking for inhalation, same time you hold after inhalation, and same time you try to exhale. So not with a timer, roughly that's enough. Okay. So what we do is when we say go, 3, 2, 1, close your eyes. Don't slow down too much, then you will not be able to hold that much time. So initially start with less time, count whatever is number convenient to you, 4 or 5 or 10. Inhale, keep inhaling. At the same rate you keep counting and hold it. And then at the same rate you count and exhale. So this is called 1:1:1. After that you try holding after exhalation also. We will see whether some of you may find it difficult. So that is later. So right now we will do 1:1:1. So inhale for some count, whatever is comfortable to you, and hold for the same time. Exhale for the same time. You adjust the rate so that you are able to complete the inhale, hold, and exhale. And suppose you find that you hold, you are not able to do that much time. Next time you can reduce the count from 5 to 4. Or you find it you will be able to extend, you can extend from 5 you will go to 6. Whatever is comfortable, and with time you will be able to increase that. So right now whatever is comfortable you do it. So let's start again. So we will do it for 1 minute. Why 1 minute? Some level of practice is needed. If you just do 1 or 2 rounds, not good enough. Okay. So when I 2, 3, 2, 1. Anybody has any questions on this? What needs to be done? Clear, right? So close your eyes. Inhale for some time, hold for the same time, and exhale for the same time, and then keep continuing with this. Okay, so let's say stop. So let's start 3, 2, 1. Stop. So anybody have any difficulty in doing it? Any feedback you want to give? Anything? It's fine? Okay. So now let's do the 1:1:1:1. That means you inhale, hold, exhale, again hold. So now holding after exhale is a little more difficult than holding after inhale because there is nothing, air is very less inside. So you may have to adjust the time, but again I leave it to you. You start with lower number now. If you have done 6 last time, you reduce to 5 or 4 now. And then with time and with your comfortable, how it is, you can keep on increasing later. But like I said, don't stop it today. Okay? Now we don't have infinite time, so I ask you to do only 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, whatever. But later, like I said, you don't have to wait for anything. Some people will tell you have to wait for 2.5 hours after you eat. That is true if you are going to do some very dense breathing for 2 hours, half an hour, 1 hour. But if you are doing for 1 minute, don't worry about it. Because you wait for that and you will never do it. I am more interested in doing it. So whenever you get time, you get 1 minute, just do that. Anyone, whatever you are comfortable with, whatever you are convinced. And you can go to YouTube, there are any number of experts, better experts than me, who tell you what are the benefits of using breathe. Okay? So let's start now. So there is inhale, hold, exhale, hold, all equal time. Yeah? See here, I will not say whether D is full or not, because I want more important thing is equal time. If I do lot of time to inhale, depending on your practice, you may not be able to hold for that much time. So whatever is comfortable, if you are able to hold as much time after a deep inhale, well and good. But like I should tell you, with practice you will automatically improve. See somebody who has never done running and they want to start doing this thing marathon, say 10 kilometers, short marathon. They will not. You shouldn't start with 10 kilometers running, right? You start with 2 kilometers running, if you are comfortable. Then increase to 3, 4, slowly you will go to 10 kilometers. So it's like that. So whatever is comfortable, you start, and you yourself after 1 week, if you are doing it regularly, you will see that you will be able to slightly increase. And in time, and you see the benefit of it, the energy level. See, I clearly can remember 10 years back, night 10 o'clock, if my wife says, go and check whether that window is closed or open or main door is locked, I get very irritated because I am so dull and lazy, I just want to sleep. Why is she calling me to asking me to do this and this time? But now, I have full energy. At 10 o'clock, whatever time I am going to sleep, if somebody says something, or I suddenly remember, I have not sent this message to Prof. I immediately go and finish that and come. I have that much energy and I don't do any exercise. I don't do cardio exercise, I don't do nothing. Occasionally, once in a while, once a week maybe, I walk. Just for pleasure. But main thing I do is sleep. And like this, sometimes I sit and do it in the morning, but many times, whenever I think about it, when I'm doing some computer work and I get bored, I just do it for 2 minutes and then resume. So it has become automatic for me. Many times I am aware of my breathing and I switch from my normal breathing where there is a break to conscious connected breathing. So and my energy levels much improved. Okay. Recently I took a 2-day workshop from morning 9 till evening 6 in IIIT City. You can talk to some of the faculty there. They said, how you are able to keep on doing from morning till evening. And I was also walking around. I made sure that small tables, each chair table has not more than 3 or 4 faculty and staff. And I went around the room all the way, throughout the day. Nothing. I didn't feel it. After they told me how you have the tendency, then I realized, oh, it's not easy for doing it throughout the day. But it has become normal for me. So, and that is only, there is nothing else. I don't take protein special, nothing. I normal, simple South Indian food from sambar or from the shop. Nothing. And I don't like to do experiments in food also. I don't eat some North Indian stuff. Let us see the Rajasthani food. I don't have. I just limit to my own, whatever I am familiar with. With that I have the only thing new. So 10 years back also I was taking the same food, now also I am taking the same food. The only difference is breathing. That's why I want to talk about so passionately. If you find it, you will never stop. And I want you to take this to your parents or your grandparents or your uncle or whoever, if they have any health issue. I am not saying they will get cured, but they will feel much, much better with some kind of breathing. Okay, and I am not asking to stop the treatment or anything, but this is an add-on, and they will feel so better and they will feel so thankful to you, and you will feel so happy. So let's start now. Any other question? Okay. So when I say 3, 2, 1, close your eyes. And one more thing, I told you always combine things. So the way I combine, I don't like to count 3, 4, and all that. So I do some mantras. Okay. You believe in some mantras. Sometimes I do Gayatri. Inhale one Gayatri, hold one Gayatri, exhale one Gayatri, hold another Gayatri. Whatever works, Or if you like Om Namah Shivaya, you can say 2 Om Namah Shivaya, inhale like that. Or if you belong to another religion, I don't know, but I am sure there are, holy chantings in Islam, Christianity, whatever religion, you can do that. So that instead of counting, you can add something else if you believe in it. If you don't believe, just count number, that is also very fine. So this is some add-on if you want. So let's start. 3, 2, 1. Stop. Okay, let's proceed. I see that less than half an hour now, so we need to go faster now. See this cardio exercises and all this, people put some music and then keep on moving fast and they say you have to increase heart rate and all. So basically you are trying to increase your heart rate, right? So you are giving some exercise to your heart. But there is something called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. Respiratory means breathing. Sinus means there is a thing on your right side of your heart, top atrium. So this is called sinus node, and that is the giving the pulse to your heart. Every time you give the pulse, your heart vibrates. Okay. So when that doesn't work, that is the time when they give a pulse or artificial pulse maker, okay, outside. So there is a natural pulse maker. So that when you are modifying that rate, so that is called arrhythmia. Normally it beats at a particular time. So there is a rhythm. When the rhythm changes, it's called arrhythm. So arrhythmia. So respiratory sinus arrhythmia. So what does it really mean? When you inhale, your heart rate goes up. This is for all of us and for all the animals which have a backbone, not only human beings. Okay. So when you inhale, the heart rate goes up. When you exhale, heart rate comes down. So suppose your heart rate is, let's say, 70. When you inhale, it can go up to 70, up to 80. When you exhale, it can go down up to 60. We have found out, we have published a paper in HSC Transactions on biomedical engineering last April, I think. So we studied 54 people, all of them, research students or private staff, age of 25 to 35. And condition was they shouldn't be knowing anything about yoga or pranayama. We specifically took people who are not familiar with this, so that we wanted to see how it varies. We recorded their ECG, that is heart activity, brain activity, EEG 64 channel, and we also measured their breathing rate, so that we want to make sure that they are doing the way we want. And there is on the screen there is a side circle which will keep on expanding, and they have to engage. And when it comes down, shrinks, they should exhale. So that, and we can control the rate at which they can do it. So we found these people who have never done any of the breathing exercises or yoga, they can themselves change the heart rate up to 20 beats per minute just by the slow and deep breathing. So what does it indicate? Whatever exercise you are giving to the heart by running, walking or doing something else, you can do the same exercise just by sitting in one place and breathing. I told you that my aunt, 90 years old, she was taking a tablet because her heart rate was never stable. It was always fluctuating up and down. So they gave a tablet to stabilize that. That tablet was stopped after 1 month of simple breathing exercise. So what is the connection? I don't know exactly how it was all the details, but we know that every time you do deep breathing, it gives better exercise to your heart and heart becomes better. Any time, any part of your body does exercise, what happens? Basically, your carbon dioxide goes up, pH level comes down, and sensors go to the brain. Brain sends more blood to that place. Whatever you eat is taken by your blood to that body part, right? So if you do a lot of exercise in the hand, your hand becomes bigger. Your leg doesn't become bigger. Why? Brain knows this is the part which is doing more, so it automatically sends more nutrition there and that develops. Somebody who runs a lot, their thighs develop better. So the brain knows and the entire body system knows where to supply more depending on the need. And even it varies with the time. Immediately after food, it sends more blood to the stomach and less to the brain. That's why if you have a nice lunch and then come to a class immediately, how many of you feel sleepy? So don't blame yourself. Our system is bad. We should have a deep class immediately after a good lunch. You should just relax, go for a walking or do something. After 1 or 2 hours, you should sit in a class. Then your brain will be alert, because by the time most of the digestion will be over, because the body has the volume of our blood vessels is 8.5 liters, but the amount of blood we have is only 5 liters. So at no time brain will be able to send enough blood to all the parts of the body. So when you are studying, it tries to send more to the brain. When you are digesting, it sends more to the stomach and it reduces to the brain. Okay. So it's like that. So that is why. So breathing, I say, is an extraordinary exercise for the heart. So my promise is last slide, last bullet. If you do any of these exercises even for 10 minutes in a day, and not necessarily continuous 10 minutes, if you can do continuous 10 minutes, great. But even if you divide it over 10 separate 1-minute segments or whatever way, I promise you, your energy level, your awareness and your alertness will go up. You will become a better student or better faculty, whoever it is. Yeah, so before time ends, I don't know when, so I will stop whenever the time ends. Before that, I thought I should teach you this most important thing. So we talked about this conscious connected breathing, right? So where you inhale and immediately start exhaling without any break. That any type of such breathing, you can do it with force, you can do it peacefully, whatever. If there is no gap, and you are aware of your breathing, it's called conscious connected breathing. Okay. Within that there are variations. Some of them we do it very forcefully. And some of them can be very peaceful. No sound, nothing. Even the person very close to me, they will not know whether I am breathing or not. Okay? So there are variations. So this is a particular variation where you breathe 4 times faster, but faster doesn't mean it's shallow. It's also powerful breath. You need to get good oxygen, like that. Fifth one is relatively slower and deeper. Slow means again not slower than your normal breath. That is also a little faster than your normal breath, but slower than the first 4. So this set of 5 is one group. 4 fast breaths, 1 slow and deeper breath. And then you repeat the same thing 5-8 times. So it becomes 40 breaths. Is that clear? Totally you are doing 40 breaths, but it is divided into 8 blocks. Each block is 4 fast breaths and 1 slow breath. But slow means it is not slower than normal, it is slower than the first 4. You are doing very fast breaths, but powerful breaths, and a relatively faster breath, which is the 5th one, more deeper. And then before you enter deeper breaths, again you start the faster breaths. So all of them is conscious connected breaths. Whether you are doing the first 4 or the next one or the next one, again you ensure that there is absolutely no pause between inhale, exhale, exhale. So it's continuous connected breathing, conscious connected breathing, but the rate is varying. So that when the rate varies and you want to maintain, that also increases your attention to that. You understand? Many of the yoga postures, pranayama postures, they give a lot of condition. You keep your fingers like this, all that. Why? Because they want to pull back your mind, which is going to 100 different things, and put your attention to yourself, and it relaxes your brain. Okay? So is it clear? Everybody, any questions on this? And if you do it properly, that entire round of 40 breaths will take only 1 minute. 60 seconds is all it takes. For me, it takes only around 45 seconds. It depends. Okay? So let's start. So I won't give any time because you have to, when you finish 40, you need to open your eyes and stop. Okay? And you use whatever way you want to count. You want to count in one finger, you can count one hand, you can count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another hand, you can count the 1 to 8 counts. Okay? So totally you are doing 40 breaths and then stop. Okay? Close your eyes so that you can attend to it better. So let's start. 3, 2, 1. I hope you finished. So like I said, that will take more than a minute. Sometimes you lose count, then it may take more time. Okay, if you do it proper, it will not take more than a minute. So it will take some time for you to make sure that you don't lose the count. So if you are done, if it has not finished yet, that means you have lost the count somewhere. Okay. So it takes less than a minute. And now the actual practice is what I call, this is 40 ccv what I told you. You have to do 3 into 40 ccv. So if you find it a little difficult, you can slowly increase. For 1 week you do only 40 ccv. Next week you do 2. After 1 week, within 3 weeks, it doesn't take, at your age you can easily get it. So 3rd week at least you should start 3 into 40 ccv. How do you do 3 40 ccv? Because it's fast breath. After 1 minute when you finish 40 ccv, you feel a little tired. Some people even told me they feel a little dizzy. So this is preferably done sitting only. That's why I didn't ask you to stand. You should do it sitting only. You can sit like this or you can sit in the floor, whatever is comfortable. But preferably keep your, whenever possible, you keep your back erect. Okay. But if you have old people and they can't do it, don't force them. Even if they don't, back is not erect. If they do it, it will help them so much. Even if one of your relatives is on a wheelchair, they can still do it. Or they are only lying down, they can't get up because of some issue, they can still do it. And This 3 into 40 cc's, I call that as instant charging. If you are tired someday, you are mentally a little dull, but you have to still do something. You have to finish some assignment, you have to study for the exam, whatever, something you have to finish. Then you just take 5 minutes to do this. So you do 140 ccd, it will take 1 minute. Then rest for a minute. Just relax, close your eyes and relax, come back to normal breathing. So 2 minutes are over. Again do 140 ccd, 3 minutes over. Again relax for a minute, 4 minutes over. Do the third and final 40 ccd. So exactly less than 5 minutes you are finishing that. And once you do that, you will find that your energy level really goes up. And you will also become alert, less sleepy, more active. It's like having a coffee, effect of the coffee. Right? When you are really tired, you take a really good coffee, you feel better on that. But the caffeine, this is same effect of coffee without the caffeine. So try it, really so effective, so useful, and if you can do it immediately after. See, how many of you get up from the bed, but that is get up but you don't come out of the bed for some. Your alarm goes up, you get up, you switch off and then you get up another time, right? That's the time you can do it. So just sit in the bed and do it, right? Or you are going to, how many of you go lie down and you can't get sleep for quite some time. Again, you will do that. You don't need to find special time for this. Whatever time you are not using, instead of worrying about, oh, I am not getting sleep, get up and do any one of the day. You will get better sleep, and especially Brahmari, if you do, you will get much better sleep. I have tried it with many people, people have reported that they are really improved. So there is something on conscious connected breathing, I forgot, I'm not going to talk anything about it. Brahmari we already said, nitric oxide we said. So I told you it reduces blood pressure, all of that. Okay, so the scientists we got Nobel Prize, actually there are 3 people, but this person, the second person, Louis Ignaro is very famous, okay, because he did much more on that, and there are many YouTube videos by him. Some of them short, 5 minutes, some of them are long, 1 hour interviews are there. Really interesting, you should go to that. And he says there are so many unknown factors about nitric oxide still, because he says the brain has more nitric oxide than the rest of the tissues. So he thinks that there should be more functions of nitric oxide for the brain which are still not known. Okay, that is what a Nobel Prize winner who got Nobel Prize for nitric oxide's function is saying. So we need to trust that. Okay. So this is about the sinuses producing the nitric oxide. So this is the Lundberg is a scientist who did that work on the humming breathing. He is from Karolinska Institute, which is one of the institutes involved in awarding Nobel Prize for medicine. Okay, it's such a famous institute, Sweden. And because it can kill viruses and this thing, it is very useful for COVID-19. Now it's too late, but I presented this during COVID time to Niman scientists. So doing deep breathing is also going to make wounds heal faster. This I took it from John Hopkins, which is a famous medical institution in US. They use hyperbaric oxygen chamber for wound healing. So I told you number of muscles increase from 23 to 89 in good breathing. I am going to quickly tell you that. Do some 10 rounds and stop. Okay, no timing. So the way to do it is, again sit erect, take your hands like this and close and make a fist. You don't need to press, just simply lightly make a fist. Okay, so don't do it now, just see what I am doing and then you see that. First you have to take your hand very fast up with lot of as much force as you can and inhale and open your hands like this. Right? And then when you exhale also, you do it fast, energetically and forcefully exhale. You try your best to exhale whatever maximum air you can send out from your stomach. Okay. Like that. So this almost involves all your 89 muscles because you are doing forceful inhalation, forceful exhalation. Some of the muscles come into picture only in forceful inhalation. Some of them come into picture only in forceful exhalation. So this is another thing like the 40cc which also gives you a lot of charging energy. So whichever you like, you can do it. Okay, if you like activity, you do this. If you like sitting and like me, if you like to just relax and only do breathing, you can do the other thing. Okay, so let's start. Anybody has any questions on this? 10 times you are going to do this. Okay, this thing is called, what is it called? I forgot. Bhastrika. Okay, Bhastrika Pranayama. So do 10 rounds and stop. Let us start. 3, 2, 1. Thank you. So I told you that so many of the nerves in your spinal cord are connected to various muscles. These are details. If you are more interested, I can send you the slides so that you can get into the details. So when you do this kind of breathing, Bhastrika kind of thing, your lung capacity increases. Over a period of time, you will be able to breathe very deeply. But during that time also, you are inhaling more oxygen. Normally when you are breathing, one breath takes around half a liter of air inside. Okay, half a liter itself looks high. When you first learn, half a liter is possible. It is there. You read any physiology textbook, they will tell you. But when you do the maximum inhalation, maximum exhalation, you can take 4.5 liters. Looks unbelievable, it is a fact, but you can check with any doctor, any medical book, it says. I have got it from multiple sources checks. So from half a liter, you can go to 4.5 liters with deep and forceful breathing. So that is the capacity you can have. But even if you double, you are going to get so much energy. There are papers which tells you that breathing modulates the flow of blood in your brain. The blood doesn't go directly, it goes through a filter to the brain. So the filtered blood which goes into the brain is called cerebrospinal fluid. They are given a different name. So they found that breathing modulates the flow of cerebrospinal fluid. So I have a feeling that when you do this kind of fast breathing, and if it is able to change the blood flow velocity in your brain, it can eliminate the toxic substance in the brain, and maybe you can delay things like Alzheimer's disease. The current theory of Alzheimer's disease is there are certain metabolic bases which are not getting cleared easily. So respiratory science therapy, you said, I told you, this shows how the blue is the breathing and red is the heart rate. You can see that as the breathing changes, the heart rate also changes. What the interesting thing we found is when you are holding the breath also, the heart rate changes. When you are breathing very slow, not everybody could do it. We reduce the breathing rate to 2 breaths per minute. Hold after inhalation, exhalation, and we found that breathing, the heart rate is changing even they are holding. We don't know the explanation, but we got published this one. And then breathing also modulates your brain electrical activity. Here, the red one is heart rate variability, breathing is the blue one, and black one is the EEG. This is normal breathing when you are not controlling, but when you start doing symmetric breathing, that means same time of inhalation, exhalation, without any hold, you can see that the EEG also is now following the breathing. And same thing happens if you are doing symmetric breathing with hold, that is the samavritti 1:1:1:1, then also you can see that the EEG is actually following. This is what we published in IEEE transactions on biomedical engineering. And this man is again a Nobel Prize winner. He is a biochemist, October book. His Nobel Prize talks are available on the net. He found out that if there is a cancerous cell and you ensure that there is sufficient oxygen supply around the cancerous area, the cancer will not spread. He showed it by experimenting on 2 sets of 40 rats, and one set of 40 rats he ensured somehow there is sufficient blood supply around the cancerous area. So after 2 weeks also they were saying that cancer was still there, but it did not spread. The other set of rats, all of them, cancer spread and they died. So there is connection to good breathing and this thing to the cancer also. So intermittent hypoxia also increases your stem cells. Okay. So there is so many things, so we don't have enough time for all of this. So since psychiatric people are able to get better in my personal experiments, so and not only one type of this thing, I have worked with multiple types of this thing. ADHD, I worked, depression, I have worked, certain other this thing, anxiety kind of thing. So I feel that this conscious connected breathing is improving the function of mitochondria. There are some doctors who are ready to test this, and this may be the last topic. So there are experiments. This was done in Oslo, Norway. They found that 2 hours of practice of different types of pranayama and meditation, it changes the expression of your genes. All of us think that genes, once you have the gene, you are stuck with that. I also was thinking that when I had BP, my mother's side, all her sisters, 4 sisters, 2 brothers, those days they had many, that. So all of them have BP and their children also had BP. So I said, I will be living with this. But now I am free of medicine for 6 years. I feel it is due to this epigenetics. That means your genetics can be changed. The gene cannot be changed, but gene can be suppressed and made inactive by certain practices like pranayama. This thing. Even it says some thinking also can do it. And this is a well accepted study. There are journals on epigenetics. And this, how the epigenetics works, I took it from National Institute of Health. So this man proved how powerful is epigenetics. He took 2 identical twins of the rats, and epigenetics also worked by certain diet. So he just gave one type of diet to one of them, different type of diet to another thing. So after some time you can see the 2 twins, how they grew, and he published this very, very popular paper, has more than 2,000 citations, and he convincingly proved that epigenetics is so powerful. You are not controlled by your genes. You can still, by good habits, you can suppress bad genes. Okay? And one of the ways is by breathing. This is the paper, University of Oslo, 2013. So if you are interested, I will give you the paper. So what is the time now? Okay, another 6 minutes. So we can do some practices, or is Professor Rajesh here? So what do you prefer? On 6 minutes we will do some practice, or we will leave for questions? Maybe some questions is better, right? Yeah. So any of you, there is only 6 more minutes, but after that if you are interested, whoever has to go because lunchtime, I don't want to talk to you. If anybody has more interest, I will be there, you can come and briefly talk. But asking a question is so useful because not only you are clarifying yourself, there are so many people who will be sitting, oh, if I ask that, people will think it is a silly question, so they will not ask. So you are benefiting hundreds of people. So if you are asking the question, you are the most courageous and contributing human being. So please go ahead. Hello? No question? Yes.
Sir, since almost 9:45 till now, you quoted around 4 Nobel laureates, and all of them worked on the Indian knowledge system.
But they are not aware that they were trying to.
No, I'm coming to that. May it be fasting, may it be pranayama, or different types of lung activities, all the health practices and all. They got mobile in different years. First in 2016 and some other years. But the knowledge that Indian people were having were of age old, thousands of years of old knowledge. Now, can we claim in the International Court of Law this is of Indian origin and all this amount meant for the Nobel should be deposited to India? Which our ancestors deserve, not us.
May be possible, but I'm neither interested nor I have time for that kind of thing. I'm more interested in educating everybody so that we make sure that everyone in India, you are ultimately interested in, see, you are saying this because of an altruistic interest.
No, sir.
The other way of national interest I have is, I want everybody to be healthy.
Just a minute, sir.
Yeah.
India has been doing this paper since ages.
Right.
So now we are moving from to some other, because our next generation is feeling that whatever is a science that we get it only from the West. That is the only science. What we have in our own country is not the science.
Right.
It is maybe the superstition or the traditional practices or the lethargic practices. That kind of pictures of their narratives are. Just to counter that, because I can give you the classical example.
No, I got that we need to counter, but my way of countering is that I am telling all of these people are familiar with ChatGPT or Google, Gemini or any number of things. And any question they ask about our Indian knowledge system, they will get enough answers with all the papers. So they can get convinced directly. I want to put that knowledge and thinking and interest in them. We are not, see, as senior people, we have not done it. It's our responsibility to ensure that we educate our younger people and make them aware of all of this has been done in the past and it has scientific basis and it's so useful. Once they are convinced why it is great, they will do it. You don't have to ask them.
Why I am telling
Yes
this
or no?
is-
How many people agree that once you are convinced that it's so great for my health, you will do it? Your parents or teachers need not force you. Some of them still don't want to do it. They are so lazy.
That is expecting the participation of each and every one of you.
Okay.
So why I am telling this thing is, we got the patent of Haldi and Neem,
Right.
as well as basmati rice
Right.
in the 90s, 1990 to 97 or that was the period. So quoting that this is our own knowledge system.
Sir,
And we produce
it's a useful activity. If you are interested or you have some people who can pursue that, I have no objection, I will be more than happy. But I am not going to spend my time in
No,
it.
sir, I am not asking you, so this is only we are exploring the possibilities.
Yes, possibility is always there. Definitely it is. What you said is correct. We retracted many cases.
Thank you, thank you. If any questions.
Any other questions? Yeah?
Afternoon, sir. As you said that in starting that it is understandable that the ability of lifting weights or going to the gym is not the right scale to measure the level of health that
No, I didn't say this.
You know,
I did not say that. You misinterpreted. Sorry. I don't say that any exercise is bad. All exercise, whatever you are doing, if you are doing swimming, you are doing playing games, you are running, please continue.
can you
I'm saying that one more thing is there. That's all. Especially 90-year-old, you cannot ask them to go to gym. Then I can ask them to do breathing. It is only an alternative thing which is also powerful. That's all I want to say. No, I am not. I said I can challenge any of you, but not in gym because I don't do gym. In that context, I said I didn't say gym is bad.
Sir, I want
If
to
you are anybody is understood, I take back if I said not in a clear way. I did not invalidate any of the exercises or this thing. All of them are valid. But this is something from our Indian knowledge systems which many of us are not aware as much, including the doctors. So I want to bring knowledge to the front so that people who are interested can take it up.
Sir, I was saying that can you tell us so that we can judge ourselves other than lifting the weights, what is the measure of our health on any another basis?
Okay. You directly ask. That question is so this question is, if it is not to lifting the weights, how do we check how good is our health? One, Ayurveda clearly gives all this list. Allopathy doesn't have definition for good health. Ayurveda means, Veda is knowledge. Ayur means life. It's a knowledge of life. It says everything about that. Okay. Whatever is your good health, if you say I want to still improve my memory, there is a medicine, there is a this thing in Ayurveda. That's a great mistake. So what it defines is you should be able to digest whatever you eat. How many people have problems? They can't eat this, they can't eat that. Some people have that this thing, allergy for milk. That is disease. If you are able to digest whatever you eat, that is good. If you are go to bed and you are able to sleep within 5 minutes and have a very deep sleep and get up fresh. How many of you don't get up fresh? So that is not a good great health. So like that there are some 8 definitions. I don't remember all of them. Those are the things. Not lifting weight. See, I have never lifted a weight. You think I am not healthy? Tell me.
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah, just I want to So he is asking a very right question.
Yes.
How do you define health? Where I have to test myself whether I am healthy or not, isn't it? So every morning, this is not my statement, Dr. B.M. Hegde always he tells that in order to check whether you are healthy or not, every day morning when you get up, that time if you ask one question to yourself, whether I have to go to work or I want to work. So if you say that I have to go to work, then you are not healthy. If you say that I want to work, I have to get up, having a lot of enthusiasm within us, that itself is an indication that you are healthy. So, checking yourself every day morning, having enthusiasm or not within ourselves, then definitely it tells whether you are healthy or unhealthy. Health is not just being free from diseases or any kind of disability. So it is having physical, mental, emotional, social as well as spiritual, all put together, that is a holistic health. That's all.
Thanks a lot for this. I think she has answered. She is a retired professor of psychology.
Student of psychology.
Okay, she wants to call herself a student of psychology. But you got some points, right? Being enthusiastic about life, that is being passionate about what you are doing, like what I am doing. That is health. Okay. Not necessarily, you can lift weight, nothing wrong in that. But that's not the only index. Okay. Somebody doesn't want to lift weight. You can't say that they are not healthy. That's all. Okay. Somebody who wants to weight should be able to lift the weight. Whatever it is. Any other questions? I think time is over. I think we should stop. So those of you who still have questions, you can meet me later or you can send me an email.